we think that means it's time to turn back to originality, authenticity, and actually the local community. So for us,
super excited to be back for another year with Brightwild. I think before we talk about Brightwild and Key West songwriters, I think we should share the story of how you and I first met, because this was something that was like a by chance moment that happened, like the beauty of Nashville. But I want you remember how it went down?
Yeah. I'll start it off and then you can, because I don't think I've ever heard it from your perspective, actually.
Yes.
So we were in Nashville for my oldest daughter's cheerleading competition. And those things, they get pretty wild. So we were up there with a crew of probably 20 girls on each team. So we probably had 40 girls there, anywhere from 6 to 10 years old. We were staying at the Gaylord Palms. You were playing at a restaurant that night. And if you've been to this place, it's almost like a mini Disney World, right?
It's a maze. The first time I played there, it took me 30 minutes to get back
you need
to
a
my
map
car.
when you check in, right? It's ridiculous. So we're sitting, they have like a bunch of different lobbies. And so we were sitting after the competition by this indoor fireplace. And there was 3 of these restaurants there. And it was late. It was probably 11:30, 12 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And Jessica, who is the coach, the head coach of our traveling team, she sees you walking out with your guitar and she chases you down. And no one knows what she told you, but you show up and she's like, he's going to play some songs for the girls.
Yeah.
And they all are going crazy. They're all like super Taylor Swift fans. And you just sat down and you just started playing requests, everything. And then I did ask you that one time, we want to hear some of your own stuff.
Yeah.
And it was, our girls talk about it to this day. It's a really cool experience.
So I don't think I've ever told you this, but from my perspective, I was like, oh God, I need to get out of here. Because all right, so look, here's the thing. So I was sharing this with some friends. I play at that restaurant, or was at least a couple times a month, right? And a lot of the people that come up will request the same stuff, or they'll be annoying, and then I end up staying too late. And I remember, like, this one night, I was like, I'd already had a long day. I was tired. I'm like, I want to just get home, go to bed, chill out. And I see this woman flagging me down. I'm like, oh, no, not another one of these. But I was like, you know what? I'll stay. And in my mind, I was thinking, all right, I will play 2 songs for this group of people, and then I'm going to head out. That was what I was thinking. And then after getting to know you guys and the girls and seeing the appreciation for the music, and also the fact that you asked for me to play original songs, was really cool, because most of the people are like, oh, play Wagon Wheel or play Friends in Low Places. But Billy over here was like, all right, well, let's hear some of your own stuff. And I'm really obviously happy that I stayed, but it's one of those moments where, like, in the music world, like, you never know who you're going to meet and connect. And I think, like, even after we connected, a part of me was like, all right, that was a lot of fun. You know, maybe there's a world where we stay in touch next year when you come to Nashville, but I'm really appreciative of you and all of Brightwild for, like, continuing to grow our relationship. I think we came down and did a holiday event, and then we did songwriters last year, and now we're doing songwriters this year. And I feel like each year it's getting bigger and better. So that's my perspective.
It's been great. And so I have a story for you too that I haven't told you yet about when you came
this
down
is
for
like
the first,
all the
when you came
like
down for the first songwriters.
Yeah.
So Lauren and I, we first started getting into, we want to get involved in songwriters. We want to do something. And I said, hey, there's this guy that I met in Nashville. He was awesome. Great guy. I'd love to bring him down. Whether he can get in the event or not, it would be cool. So I think I texted with you, and then I told you, hey, my chief of staff, I'm gonna have her reach out. You guys can coordinate the details. Mm-hmm. So she calls me back. She's like, hey, I talked to Chris, and you know, I know you said you want to bring him down, you know, and get him a place to stay. She's like, he's telling me that he has like this house, and he has like all these friends that stay with him, but they're actually really like, they make music together, and he wants to bring all his friends. I'm like, this fucking guy just wants to bring... He's trying to get a free trip for all of his buddies now, too. I'm like, nah.
I was trying to plan a little bachelor party, you know? Like...
I'm like, nah. I'm like, Lauren, no. So she goes, and to Lauren's credit, she talked to you again. She goes, no, look, I think he's serious, and I think it'll be pretty cool. So I think we should do it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, let's do it then. And the rest is history. Here we are.
Thank you, Lauren. I was bringing a crew down. I was gonna have a party, but they performed and it was great. We did it at General Horseplay, and then now we're doing it at Curry Mansion. You guys are, I think the performances are all at Curry Mansion this weekend, which is gonna be great. And the best part about it too is, like, even from last year, some of the songwriters and artists that we have watching their journeys grow, and like I feel like everyone at Brightwild and 615 House is coming together to like give these artists and songwriters that maybe haven't had the break or are about to have the break the opportunity to showcase, you know, their talent. Like, you know, this girl Abby Anderson that I remember played like right out here last year. You know, she's on the road with Tim McGraw right now and like crushing it. Buddy Graham Barham, like he came down and has now got a couple of songs that are being cut by big artists. And I think it all comes down to, I think, the experiences that you guys are able to put on and throw, because a lot of artists and songwriters, we play like such shitty honky tonks in bars across the country, and like a chance to come down to a beautiful place like Key West, connect with people, share original music. It's really awesome. So that's not the dirt on Billy anymore. That's my actual appreciation for you and Brightwild.
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean, the event last year was actually our brand launch party. We did it at the opening of Songwriters, and you guys played. You started off, and then you brought a couple folks out there, and that was when Dave and I came and took your chairs for a few minutes to talk about that. All I remember about that is the lights were so fucking bright, is that I couldn't even see anyone that we were talking to. And then the other thing I remember is watching the sunset out there as Abby was playing the piano and playing, I think is what is her like most popular song.
Yeah.
And that really, you know, is what got me at least super excited about this venue. And we got so much good feedback last year about that being like, people, where was that event? You know, who was running that event? Who's playing up there? Who's doing that? So we've kind of decided we want that Wednesday night of Songwriters to kind of be the opening kickoff where, you know, the Brightwild and Friends kind of event. So, you know, you guys were there with us from the beginning, so it was fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys coming last night too.
It was awesome. I want to ask you this, because I actually have never asked you this, but when I first heard about Brightwild and we started connecting, I knew that you guys were in hospitality, but I sort of ignorantly thought it was like a place where you get a hotel room or like you get an Airbnb and kind of hang out. But I'm realizing now that like there's so many elements of Brightwild that I think go beyond just your traditional like hospitality experience. I've never asked you this, but I would love to get your answer as the man upstairs in charge of it. Like, downstairs. Downstairs with the people, which is what it's all about. Look, hospitality is, it's really a beautiful thing, you know, and for me, it's about people connecting together in real life. I mean, if you think about hospitality, you know, my grandmother, you know, was kind of legendary in this town for her hospitality, and it was always bringing people into your home or your space and entertaining them, enjoying the interaction of each other. You know, and with all the social media companies that have come out over the last 10 years, everyone talks about connection, but it's been this virtual connection. So we really wanted to create something that is great for everyone, that really connects people in real life again, as opposed to online. And so the way we do that, you know, the traditional hospitality industry, hotels, what most people think about, you know, they solve for the problems of the past. You know, if you were going to go stay somewhere, you wanted to know that the place was not going to be dirty. You'd want to know what it looks like. You'd want to know what, you know, so it was they're selling you trust and reliability. But now with the internet, those things are commoditized. Reviews, photos, you know what you're going to get everywhere you're going to go. And so we think that means it's time to turn back to originality, authenticity, and actually the local community. So for us, we focus on building a market-focused team that participate in making the culture in that market so that they can share that culture with the people that come and stay with us. And because we operate such a wide variety of assets, that team can have permanence. You know, the capital markets tend to force hotels to turn over a good amount, so they're bought and sold by hedge funds, different things like that.
And so whenever they're sold, those teams are typically disbanded and then repopulated or reconstituted somewhere else. But because we focus on the market, and we have this penthouse that we rent, we have a 200-room, waterfront hotel that we rent rooms in. We have the boutique Curry Mansion where you're staying. We have houses, waterfront houses. We're never going to have that turnover, and it just gives us the ability to build this team that is a market-focused team that builds culture, shares culture, and really at the tip of that are our gems that basically are your friend that you're traveling to go see.
Right.
So we really value the relationship with our guests. They trust us, and that means a lot to us. We're trying to solve for the problem that, at least whenever I travel somewhere, I'm almost more anxious that I don't get sold to go somewhere that's a tourist trap than I am, excited to go to a place that's good. So you're always searching for that person that is doing it, and you want to know, where are you going? Not where do you recommend I go? Where are you going? What do you do? I want to go do that and do it with you. And so that's what we're trying to do here. Host people here, connect them in real life. I think with you guys and singing live, that's kind of a beautiful way to connect in real life. So I think it's a natural partnership. We appreciate it.
That was amazing. I've never heard that from you before. Like, I love that you're trying to bring back people in real life. I think the parallel in my world is when COVID happened, right? So 615 House was birthed because of COVID. The whole, us getting together, locking ourselves in a room and quarantining and putting out music. It was this great social presence that we built, but everyone was kind of scratching their head, are we ever going to actually get to perform music live again for people? And I remember as we're spending 10 hours a day on our phone and trying to connect with people through Instagram or YouTube or whatever it might be, we were missing that feeling of here's human interaction, people coming together. And I feel like the events that you guys do, and now that the world's somewhat back to normal, it's so refreshing to go back to that stage where we were pre-COVID of being able to connect with people in real life. So I appreciate you guys for allowing us to not just live on our phones for 12 hours a day.
It's kind of incredible how it changes the dynamic of a dialogue. The things that matter really tend to get focused on the things that actually do matter, as opposed to online. It gives people the opportunity to focus on things that don't really matter that much. When you have someone in front of you, it's a great venue that we think is, something that we're super excited about. So,
you guys need anything else? I got one question for Billy.
Let's go.
What is, if there is one concert you could go to, one artist you could see, that's your last concert, who would it be?
So the first concert I ever went to was Boys to Men. It was excellent.
I was not expecting that.
Excellent concert. Man, that's a good question. Who'd you say?
Backstreet Boys played on Duval Street? Oh, man.
That might be John. Him and his buddy Nick Carter. They might have been down there watching. But no, I don't know. It's an opportunity to say something. I think we talk about Songwriters Festival and all of this stuff, and Lauren will tell you, I'm always let's go out and try and find the people that are not a big deal, but they're awesome, because that, to me, there's such a satisfying component of that. It's so authentic, and being authentic is something that matters a lot to us, and we talk a lot about it. And so, doing that with you guys, so to answer your question, I'd say my favorite concert to go to would be one where you see someone that's spectacular that you didn't know was spectacular before you went there. So
that's cool.
That's not what you were looking for, but that's what you
No, I was expecting the Eagles, the Rolling Stones, or something like that, but
the Eagles are good.
That's cool too.
All right, so I got to ask you some questions now, right? This isn't just if it's a conversation and not an interview, we got to make it a conversation.
Right.
So you've been in Nashville for how long?
I've been in Nashville for 7 years.
7 years. And where'd you come from before that?
So I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. Shout out to the man behind the camera, also from Boston. What up, Gus? Yeah, and I grew up in New England, and all my family's there, but I wanted to get out of New England and move to Nashville.
So I went up to Nashville for the first time 2 years ago for a Florida Vanderbilt game, and went up for a second time a year ago. My good friend Rand Carthon's the GM of the Tennessee Titans up there. Probably gonna go next year. We'll have to connect when I get up there. But the first time I went there, we went to Broadway.
Yes.
And I don't get blown away too often. When I was on Broadway, I was like blown away because it reminded me so much of Key West and Duval Street, but like times 100. Like just the size and scale and the number of people that are on there, and every single bar has an incredible singer. So how have you seen that grow? Has it always been like that, or has it grown since the time you've been there?
Nashville is booming. Like, even in the 7 years I've been there, the amount of new bars and like people that are moving there and playing, and the tourists that are coming through, like it's grown exponentially. I think it's always been a place for people to come and visit. I just think that I guess the modern market of people like wanting to hear live music and the experience of what Broadway is, which I think is similar to Duval, because there's no cover charge on Broadway, right? And I don't think there's a cover charge on Duval either. And the beauty of that is, like you were saying, you want to find the next artist that's amazing that no one knows about. What better place to do it when you have 100 bars and 100 opportunities
you can go
to
to
see
all of
someone,
them. You don't
right?
just have to go one place.
I remember the first time, this is funny, if my dad's going to watch this is bad, but the first time my dad came down to Nashville, he was actually coming in for a business conference that he was doing, but I said, hey, let's go check out Broadway. So we went down, and we got there at 7 o'clock, and we didn't leave Broadway until 2 a.m., and it was because he wanted to go into every single bar and hear a different artist playing. And I really do think that people are there. And, you know, there's a lot of sports and great food and all that stuff too. But I think people are there to like experience live music. And I think that's what continues to make the city grow and develop. So, yeah, it's kind of insane. There were 5 new bars that opened this past year. And I'm sure there's going to be another 5 next year. You know, it's like, but we welcome it.
That thing you hit on about, you know, being able to go to the multiple bars. I've talked to a lot of people about this. I don't think many people pick up on it. And I think it's probably one of the reasons that bachelorette parties, Nashville, Key West, are both big places for that. It's because there are places you can go with a big group, and it's low key, right? If you go to like Vegas or Miami or somewhere, like just to get in somewhere is a total production, you know, and it's already stressful if you're planning to take a big group somewhere. And so in Nashville on Broadway or here on Duval Street, the fact that you can go with a big group, you can just kind of go around, you can check out this place, you can go to that place, is a feature that I think people should give a little more respect to and think about that, because I love it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. From my time in Duval, I mean Duval gets pretty busy. I mean it reminds me a lot of Broadway and the flexibility to bounce around
in a quaint way,
in a nice, somewhat confined way, but. Not during Key West Songwriters. It's absolutely packed down there right now. But
so you have 615 House now. This is your creation. You would consider yourself the founder.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a shift for you. Obviously, I met you. You were singing. Asked you to sing some songs you've done writing. So I don't know what you would call it that you're doing, but basically working with other artists, bringing them, you know, into the house, doing stuff collaboratively, which is pretty cool. But
yeah.
What's the purpose?
I thought it was going to be like an easy. I thought I was going to get fired back. Who's your favorite artist? Now I'm getting a question about
when you
my life purpose.
When you tried to stop it, I was like, I got to ramp it up here. He's already
right?
ready to go.
Oh,
Came all the way down here for this.
Unreal. Yeah, exactly. You know, I started as a artist, songwriter, and then I think when talking to a lot of my friends, we realized there's a lot of frustration that people have with the traditional way that the industry is run. I think with our access to social media, our ability to build followings and then connect with people through a lot. I mean, country music and touring that's a big revenue generator for a lot of these artists. I started looking at, some of the deals or some of the opportunities that artists were getting. And a lot of really established artists have those opportunities. But this sort of middle ground of the artist is maybe not just starting out, but is like on their way up, is still lacking a lot of resources. And so my decision to, I think, continue to grow this project and like cultivate this community is so that I can help those people, and also share in the victories. I've set up a model of the business where, it's helpful for every artist to succeed and support each other. And there's no reason why myself and the other 9 songwriters that I have down here this weekend can't all lift each other up. And I think that collaborative aspect is what differentiates us compared to everyone else. Because I think the music industry is really competitive, and there's a lot of shade thrown around by this artist's success and jealousy and whatnot. But in our case, I think it's a matter of how can we build something where we can share experiences and win together. And I'm fortunate that our business model is set up to do that.
I love that. We talk about building a team-focused culture of champions. And for me, competition can be bad, but it can be great too. And the thing about a team is, if you think about team sports, you have to compete against each other and against your outside competitors, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a balance to do that in a way that is net positive, but it is a positive sum, right? As opposed to total external competition can be zero sum, So I think for you guys to do that, it reminds me a lot about some of the stuff we think about. And if I would put if I put my finance and strategic hat on and observe what it is that you guys are doing, you're a distribution channel. This. Right? So we talk about distribution channels all the time. You can have the best product in the world. You can have the best service in the world.
Sure.
The bottom line is you have to be able to distribute it to the people so they can see it. And then once they see it, they're going to come seek you. Mm-hmm. But you're right. With social now, a lot of the traditional distribution channels in whatever industry it may be are vulnerable to alternatives because you can basically go direct, or through collaboratively direct, to the customers. So watching you guys do that, is great, and I mean, we talked about it. I think you guys have more followers on a bunch of the platforms than most and many of the artists that are in, or going back to last year, you guys weren't even in the festival.
Yeah.
And everyone that was in, it was like, I'm like, we got the best guys here. They're just going straight to it.
Right.
So I think the natural follow-up there is who are the, and of course all 9 are amazing.
Sure.
Right, but everyone in your stable, right? Tell us a little bit of something about some of them, or if someone's going to break out soon, you can help us peek into the future here.
I like this question. This is good. Look, I will say the industry, there's a lot of things are chance, and it's a bunch of, a lot of things have to align in order for an artist to succeed, and it's unpredictable. But I do think that good songwriting will always win. I believe that good songs can have a moment, and I believe that great songs will last decades and generations. She came last year. I'm particularly a big believer of Abby Anderson and her songwriting. I think that she's going to have a breakout year this year. She already kind of had a moment last year, but I believe in her because of her ability to tell stories. I'm also really excited about Jonathan Hutcherson, who's going to be playing tomorrow. He's actually friends with Dylan Marlowe, who I know was doing some stuff with the Brightwild crew. And he and his group are also, I think, similar to 615 House, are supporting each other and lifting each other up. And I think that he's like one song away from breaking. So I love him. And then my man who's going to, I think, come on soon here, I think Josiah Siska has got he's got this incredibly deep, rich voice, but he has like a very witty style of writing. And I think that there's a lane right now for people to kind of appreciate, like, not all songs have to be super serious and sappy, and like ballads are great, but I love his ability to like play a song and make people laugh and dance. And I think like as that
we were doing that last night on that song.
Yeah.
And you hit it it was because it was unsuspecting, and like to have humor, you have to have timing and
right
and balance. And to me, it was because the song was unsuspecting. You know, these songs typically have a cadence, and so he was kind of surprising with some of the ways that was going. It was
in
pretty
writing. Everyone loves like a humorous song, and you kind of at first you kind of think it's easy to write. Writing those kind of songs is really difficult. Like it's quite a process, and I respect him a lot for his ability to do it. So I don't know. Those are 3 names of people. We'll see. We'll tune back in a year, right?
Who was it that played the last song last night? She was great, too.
Oh, Rebecca Brunner. Yes, she's awesome. She's she kind of reminds me of
Olivia Rodrigo looked like.
Yeah, she's Olivia's big sister, right, or younger sister. But yeah, she's great. She's reminds me of kind of the Alicia Keys, like Olivia kind of thing. I think she's really talented too. So I'm actually curious. We can run back this tape in a year, and we'll see how these artists are doing.
Predictions on the record.
I should do it's like I'm creating like a fantasy football team, but in music. That's my fantasy music team.
What you guys have to do is do one of these at the end where you review the festival and give grades to people and say who is the best and who's going to be the best.
You have to subscribe for that exclusive content.
It'll be 615 House be super popular in Nashville.
Well, heck yeah, this is great.
Good stuff, though.
Cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We good? I think there's some good clips in there.
So many good sound bites in that.
I mean, fuck, Billy, put me on the spot there. Like, what's your purpose in life? Jesus, man. I don't know.
You're gonna do something.
My purpose is to